Hello. This is JD Rabali with the Biz Kidz Podcast. We are back with another episode. If this is your first time finding us, we're all about inspiring kids to start businesses. And today we have a guest, Maria. Maria has been doing Biz Kidz for quite a while, and she's kind of learned the ins and outs. And so hopefully today you can pick up a few things, tips and tricks from her on how to run your business. But we're here for parents and kids to learn about how to start businesses. We help you in the process of getting it together. Our average kid will do one of our shows, one of our Biz Kidz Markets. They sell over $275 worth of product. Maria has sold a lot more than $275, but we'll talk more about that soon. So as I always like to start off with, as our guests come in, we like to hear their 60-second pitch of who they are and what they do. So this is kind of a test to see if Maria can give us her 60-second pitch. So go ahead, Maria, tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, so hi, my name is Maria. I'm 14 years old. I make handmade polymer clay earrings. So since they're made of polymer clay, they're extremely lightweight and comfortable for all day wear. I also make them with it doesn't hurt your ears, like the materials that I make them with. And I have some that are gold dipped and all that too. So it's really comfortable. And they're also all like inexpensive and all that. And I have lots of different styles and they're all unique and one of a kind.
And every lady likes to buy earrings, right? As I see them at the show, they're always stopping by and oohing and eyeing over your products. So that's always cool to see. What is one of your best sellers? Do you have like a certain design or a certain type that sells better than the others?
Well, I mean, it kind of depends, like, the age group, too. For, like, these, like, college students, it's kind of like a hexagon with, like, 3 little roses in the middle. Then there's, like, the typical, just the little rose studs, especially, like, the white and red ones, and those are, like, for every age. So I get a lot of those. Yeah.
And so for the people that don't understand clay polymer earrings, tell us the process of how that happens. And like, do you hand paint those after you bake them? Kind of explain the process to us.
Yeah, so a polymer clay, it comes in a bunch of different colors, and its texture is kind of just like a more firm Play-Doh, kind of. And so I have like my little molds and stuff, and there's some flowers I like can't do them, but those take longer, so I normally use a mold. And yeah, so then I just mold it, I like do all the designs and all that with the polymer clay itself, because you can like stack it and do like different like colors and all that. And then I put it in a little conventional oven that I have, and then I bake it, and that's when it gets hard. So then I file them to make them look nicer, and then I drill in the little holes and connect them and put all like the studs and all that, which is what goes in the urn, yeah.
And do you have any samples with you today, or are you wearing any? I should have mentioned that earlier before we got on the call, but yeah, if you don't have any to show us, but I thought maybe you would be wearing some to model them for us. So what has been one of the biggest successes in your business so far? And you've only been doing this for what, 3 years or 4?
Since 2021 so far.
Okay. And what was one of your biggest successes?
Like my biggest sale?
Well, what would you consider a success in your business? Would it be your biggest sales day, or would it be something that you've learned throughout the process that made you maybe not as shy? What do you think is one of your biggest successes?
Well, I'd say my biggest success is when I won second place at the expo last year. Because, like, it was really nice because, like, the judges, they gave you, like, feedback and stuff. But they were also, like, really, like, listening and, like, telling you, like, what you're doing, like, well and that kind of thing, and that kind of stuff. And then I also sold more than, like, well, I had won, like, from the expo, the prize. And then I was also more out of that. And so, like, it was just, like, a really good day overall.
Good day. So yeah, second prize was $750, and then top that with your sales for the day. Did you break $1,000 that day?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's always great to hear. You do get excited when you have those kind of big days and you see that kind of a success. What would you say has been one of the things you've learned that maybe didn't work out the way you thought, but you learned a big lesson from it?
Yeah. So I used to think I could have just like that I would just stand there and, just wait for people to come over. But then I realized that, like, if you have even just like a little sign to like draw people in, or just going out and be like, hey, would you like to look at some earrings? Or just like little things, just putting a specific way to catch people's attention and that kind of stuff really helps to like draw more people in. So it's not really just standing there and just like, waiting for people to come over. But
Were you really shy in the beginning?
I mean, I'm not a very shy person. And so it was like really weird because it was like a ton of strangers and you just have your own product and you just have to like sell. So, but I was able to overcome that. And it's kind of like, because basically everyone is friendly. So you could just like start a conversation or something or say, oh, these ones would look good on you and that like kind of stuff. And it just like helps like overcome that fear.
And that's the hardest thing for a lot of younger kids that are starting off in the business is rejection is hard. And like if somebody does tell you no, they're not interested, or they just walk by you and they ignore you,
Yeah.
it can be hard in the beginning. But it's just a matter of getting past that. And I'm glad that you just like there's a lot of people at these events that we go to, and we see tons of people. So it's just if one person's not interested, you start just talking to the next one that comes up, and everybody has a different perspective, a lot of them like to ask a lot of questions and
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
out why you did it. So that's always cool. Um, what's a tool that you use in your business that you think works well for you? Maybe an app or something you do on your computer, or something to help you make and design things. Is there something that you use on a daily basis that like, hey, this really helps in my business?
Well, for some of the designs, like if I need some like I have a basic idea of what I wanna do, but I just need a little bit more help. Sometimes I use things like Pinterest or just Google to look some ideas and then be like, oh look, I can add this to it to make it more like this type of style, which like, I wouldn't have thought of before, something like that. And then I have like out of my material tools, like I said, I have like the molds. And then I got this like flower stamp thing. So I like cut out the shape of a flower, which is like a little bit more like pointy, but then I put it in this like little mold and I press it down, and in 5 seconds I have a flower, which is like really nice because then I can just bake it and then I sell them for 13. So I get
That's
like a lot of profit out of that.
that's great. And then what advice would you give to other kids that are just getting into the business and want to try something but they're not sure what to do, or they're scared? What kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah. I feel like one of the big things is underpricing. Because, like, I feel like sometimes they have, like, good things and they just have to know how to sell them. And then, that way they can start, like, charging a bit more. Because if you start off with, like, $2, I mean, it obviously depends what it is. But let's say you're selling bracelets. You sell them for $2, then maybe, like, people, when they see them, they might not think they're that good of bracelets. But if you sell them for 5 and you, like, tell them all about, like, what the specific bracelet has, then, like, you can make more profit and also, like, you learn through the like just explaining how they are and that kind of stuff.
And you
Like
found that
how,
out with your studs, right? Like your studs are stainless steel and gold, right? So that's important when you're buying earrings, because if you get the cheap stuff, what yeah, I'm sure there's issues with that. I've heard my wife say something about like how it like changes your ear color or can give you an infection. So
yeah, yeah.
have you what kind of materials do you use, and did you research that in the beginning? Did you know that, or had you had a bad experience with other earrings?
Well, I myself also have like sensitive ears, so I can't wear cheap materials either. So when I got like, my things from Amazon, I checked that they say hypoallergenic, which means like, you can't be allergic to them and that they like sensitive. And so, yeah, I would just like try them on, wear them all day, make sure they're good. But the beginning, like I would use ones that are maybe like less expensive and they like still worked. But then I found ones that like for a good price, now with like the money that I'm making and I can reuse into the business. That like I found some like gold ones that are like really good and they last like a pretty long while and they like aren't that expensive, for like the quantity that there are. And
Good.
just like yeah, so I was able to like improve with that.
And it's nice that you were able to research that and kind of find products that you knew weren't going to cause issues for your clients, as because you want them to come back. You're doing a lot of shows, especially in our little town that we're in. People see you on a regular basis and they search you out. Has anybody come to you outside of like, or at one of these events that you've been at, and ask you to like make a custom pair for them or anything like that, or ask you to display your stuff in their stores?
Yeah, so actually, I literally just like last week, I had this lady pick up ones that she got custom. She wanted these for her daughter that were like cow tag earrings. Yeah, I had never made ones like those before, so I was like, I hope she likes them because I was like, never done that before. Um, but yeah, just like, or sometimes when my mom does, I like ask her to take pictures of my earrings and I like set them up all nice and stuff. And then I put them on things like Facebook and stuff. And then I have like the people like text me if they want to get a specific pair or something.
You are you allowed to be on Instagram and stuff like that, or do you watch other people that are doing earrings on Instagram?
Well, I don't have a phone myself, so I
Okay.
can't really do these things. So it's just kind of through my mom. Yeah.
No, and every student's a little different. Some have phones, some have access to social media, some don't. So we kind of just look at that like, hey, are you using that as a tool? But I completely understand. I wouldn't let my daughter be on the Instagram when she was your age, so I get it. What about like taking payments? Has that been an issue for you? Like when you're out and about, a lot of people use credit cards now, or and not cash. Do you run across that a lot?
Well, I've kind of like studied the different places and what they use. So like here in our town, they like to use more cash. More like near Cape Coral, they like to use more credit card. And so I have to like know if I like need a lot of change or I don't need that much change. And then like I bought this little like square thing and it was like working, but then it's like stopped working for some reason. So then I had to like do it through the phone and that was just kind of like a bummer.
It kind of slows down the process when it's not as quick. So
Yeah.
we're doing some research for all the students to find a better system where it'd be easier. So if I find anything that works better for you, but I'm always looking to see what's working for people and what's not. So a lot of those cash apps, if you register as a business, they're going to charge you a lot more fees. And since you're really not technically a business, you're a side hustle that you're doing it just on a weekend here and there. We don't want to make sure that everybody doesn't get soaked by the service fees. So what other do you have any siblings that are trying to get into this business now too?
Yeah, so I have my two little sisters, Trini and Delphi. Well, Trinidad and Delphina, but we call them Trini and Delphi. And they started selling some like cold brew that my soon-to-be brother-in-law, because my sister is engaged, um, his family they own like a coffee shop and near Fort Myers, Coral Springs. Um, and so I think it's near Fort Myers. But anyways, yeah, so they sell their coffee there. And so my mom started buying some of their coffee. And so my little sisters, they make it at home and then they go out and sell them for the events.
And I saw them at the next to you at the last event. Did they ask you a lot of questions about how to interact with their clients, or did they just get out there and do it, or did they ask for your advice at all?
I mean, they kind of just went out there and like gave it their best shot. But I mean, if they're like, well, I can't get these people to come over, like, how do I make them come over? Then I'd be like, just go out and be like, hey, I want some cold brew, like my soon to be brother in law's family, makes it. And then they like start talking about, like, oh, yeah, it's Colombian roast. We also have decaf. Because some people go, no, I don't drink coffee. And they're like, but we have decaf. And then maybe they end up like getting it and stuff. But yeah.
And did you ever think you would be kind of mentoring your siblings into how to start a business?
I didn't think they were into that stuff,
Yes.
but
Well, when they see your sister making a bunch of money on the weekends, it's motivation. They all want to have a little piece of that as well. So, uh, and I know you've made some good friendships doing these events and meeting other girls and stuff like that. Do you guys talk after the events to kind of like talk about business ideas and what you guys are working on, or just kind of regular girl stuff?
yeah. So last time, well, me and Ella, like one day we just met up like halfway, and then I went to her birthday party, and then we also went just a day like shopping and stuff. It's like regular girl stuff, yeah.
Do
And then we
you guys
were
talk
also
business?
thinking, I mean, well, yeah, because we were thinking of making some little like polymer clay like dog necklace like tags or stuff like that, or little keychains for her like her dog leashes, because they're kind of like the yarn thing. So maybe you could just like clip them on or something like that. So we're thinking of doing something like that because we feel like those would sell.
And that's a
But
great idea because we've been talking to Ella about how she can actually brand her dog leash, and she was on a prior episode of the podcast as well. And so she's looking at how she can expand her product. So I think that's great that you guys are creating that relationship and looking at like, hey, what do I have that can help your business, and vice versa. So that's cool that you guys kind of found that idea, and I'll talk to Ella to see if she's going to expand on that, because I think
yeah,
that would be a great way to brand her leashes.
yeah.
So what other advice would you give kids about starting a business? Is it hard to carry all the money to the bank?
Yeah, so my mom, my mom, she really like helped me at the beginning. She'd be like, "Okay, look, I'll pay for the event, but you have to go and you have to like make it worth it." And so like it was like motivation, like, oh, I have to do this for my mom too in a way. And she was just there for me a lot. So we all have parents, and so you could always just like ask them for help, and yeah,
And I noticed at the last show she wasn't around at all. Like it was just
yeah.
you.
Now
And
Yeah, ever since the Cape Coral one, she was like, you're on your own, you're paying everything. Like, cause she used to always like motivate me, just like at home. She'll be like, okay, like go make some earrings and kind of stuff, just like to be ready for the event and stuff. And then she's like, okay, I'm not gonna say anything anymore. Like, it's all on you. You have to pay. You have to like remind yourself. You have to be responsible and all that kind of stuff.
what are you averaging at a Biz Kidz Market? Most of our events are about 4 hours, maybe 5. What's your kind of average sales day?
I'd say around like $500.
And it
Yeah.
takes you about how long to make each set of earrings?
Well, I make them in like batches of like 30,
Okay.
including like the studs and everything. And so maybe around like an hour or something. It also depends like how like complicated each pair of earrings is, which of course for those I charge extra. But like for the little studs, if I make like 30 pairs of those, around like an hour with like the baking and everything.
It's not a bad day to work 4 hours and make $500, even though you have a lot of prep time up into the shows to do that, to make your product. But I'm sure that you don't sell out a product every time, so your products get more and more. We did have a couple shows where we were there for 2 full days. I'm sure you went through a lot more product at those events, and it's hard to keep up. But yeah, you can't beat having a $500 day on the weekend. I'm sure most of your friends aren't making $500 on a Saturday. So, well, if you're interested as a parent or a kid getting involved with the Biz Kids, we teach about entrepreneurship. We talk about financial literacy. We talk about marketing, how to create products. If you want to get involved, definitely check us out at the bizkidsusa.org is our website. We'd love to find out how we can help you get involved. If you're in Southwest Florida, we put on events all the time that kids can actually get out and sell their products and actually make money for the weekend. Like I said, our kids actually sell about $275 on average. Again, Ella and Maria are not average, so they're averaging anywhere from $500 to $800 on a day. And so, you never know what products are going to do well. We have a girl that does slime that I've seen her do a $600 day. We have girls that do lemonade that do $1,000 a day. So if you're a motivated kid that wants to get into this business, and kind of figure this all out, we're here to help in that whole process. And Maria, thank you for being here today and sharing your story. And we're looking forward to seeing what else your business is going to do throughout the years. And we're glad that you're part of the Biz Kids. And we'll see you guys next time on the next episode of the Biz Kidz Podcast. Thanks for stopping by tonight, and we'll talk to you soon. See you guys later.